This mimer is a mimer from Shabbos Parshas Achrei Kedoshim, the 13th of Iyar, Tafshel Lamed Aleph. Tip Aleim ופחד. We say in Oz Yasher will fall upon them a fear and a trembling fear. But by the greatness of your arm, Yid Muka'av, they will be as silent as a stone. In the simple sense, this is this was the song of the sea that was said after the splitting of the sea. So it's referring to the time of the splitting of the sea. When the Yidden left Mitzrayim, this also hints at the time of the crossing of the Yarden when they were entering Eretz Yisrael. This is what it says in Oz Yashir. We say Ad Yaver Shnei Pamim. We use the words until they will cross, but it says the words until they will cross. It says it twice. First, it says Ad Yavram Havaya. It says until your nation Havaya will cross. Following that, it says Ad Yavram Zukanisa, until this nation that you acquired will pass. So the first Ad Yavar, Chazal says, is referring to Kriyas Yamsuf. The second Ad Yavar is referring to the splitting of the Yarden, which was also miraculous to cross the Jordan to go into Eretz Yisrael. Yet, despite that simple meaning of the text, the Rebbe adds another meaning. From the fact that he says that it will fall upon them in future tense. This seems to indicate that the entire pasuk is referring to the future times, to Mashiach's times. Moving for this understood. The first time it says Ad Yaver, it says until your nation Havaya crosses. He mentions the name Yudke Vavke. How come Lefisha Koyal Azman the Kriyas Yamsuf? Because referring to the time of the splitting of the sea. Opposed to the second time, the name of Yudke Vavke is not mentioned at all. And all he says is until they will cross, without saying what particular name is associated with it. Lefisha Koyal lost because referring to the future time. Then the revelation will be higher than the name Yudke Vavke. So that is the not mentioning Havaya's name. Also, it's referring to this nation you have acquired. That also hints at a higher level. There are 4 levels that are indicated in the phrase. Your maker, you're the one that formed you, your creator, you're the one that acquired you. So if you look from the order of the pasuk, we see it's going from bottom up. So Eisech corresponds to the world of Asiya, Yitzrech, the world of Yitzira, Boirech, the world of Bria. So therefore, that leaves us with Koinech. So obviously, in that progression, it corresponds to the world of Atzilus. And in the world of Atzilus, there's no bad will dwell over there. So that also indicates Amzukan Nisan, which has to do with the world of Atzilus, indicates that it's Mashiach's times when there's no bad whatsoever. Like it's explained in Torah concerning Kisik Navid Ivri, the level of Kinyan has to do with the world of Atzilus. This is why when Mashiach comes, Hashem's name will be pronounced the way it is written. Now we do not pronounce Yud Ke Vav Ke the way it's written. We pronounce it as if it would say Aleph Dal Nun Yud. And that, the commotion, meaning the spiritual concept of being pronounced as it is written. The commotion nichtav b'atzilus ulamaylam atzilus, the way it's written in Atzilus and even higher than Atzilus, kach yia nikra, so it'll be read b'ishtalshlos b'biyah in the chain descent of B'yitzir Asiyah. That indicates Atzilus will become revealed down here. That's why it says Amzu Kanisa, that the level of Kinyan, which is Atzilus, will become revealed down here. That indicates that it's talking about Mashiach's times. based on this, that's talking about Mashiach's times. So now we can explain the part of the pasuk that says Tipol Aleim. It says V'zeu she'omer Tipol Aleim and Masa ופחד and Masa v'gomer. This is what it says shall fall upon them the fear. A Masa behei. It doesn't say Tipol Aleim Ema, but a Masa. The a Masa with a hey at the end is as if it would say with a definitive article. It was as if the hey would be at the beginning, ha-ema, meaning v'hainu emasa pachad hayiduyim. The well-known fear and trembling fear was mekanim nit iberwachsen, that you cannot upstage it, you cannot get even higher than it. That is the fear from Hashem. For example, down here below, about a human being, when he's scared of another human being, there are different levels in awe. It's only when he's not standing in the presence of the king you can have this fear from an officer and a minister. But when he's standing before the king, then he's not scared of the officer. It's prohibited to have fear of the officer or of the minister in the presence of the king. In the presence of the king, you only have to be showing honor and fear and bittul to the king himself. The Mefarshim explained that Uriah Achiti, who David HaMelech sent to the front, his sin was he gave honor to Yoav, who was the chief of the army over there, in the presence of David, and you do not give honor to a commander, etc., in the presence of the king himself. So, in a similar vein, when it says Tipol Aleim and Masa ופחד, that means the fear, the ultimate, the highest level of fear. That's what when Mashiach comes, there'll be a revelation of the infinite light of Hashem. Then also upon the nations will fall a fear. That when Mashiach comes, they will go into the cracks of the rocks. They will hide out in all types of caves. Because of the fear of Hashem and the glory of His majesty. In a similar vein of this type of revelation of the Ein Sof was at the splitting of the sea. That's why everyone would point with their finger and say, "This is my God, this, and I will glorify Him." The way it took place by Kriyas Yamsuf, it was only temporary. When Mashiach comes, not only will it not be temporary, it will be always, but it's going to be a revelation of a higher level than what took place by Kriyas Yamsuf, because by the splitting of the sea, it says only Zeh Kelim Aveyu one time. But therefore, in Mashiach's times, it says twice Zeh. Behold, this is our God, this is our God, and this is Avaya, etc. So we see this idea of the double Zeh indicates a greater revelation, a greater thing that comes down. Second page of the Maimer 465. This idea in the service of Hashem. Is the following. It's brought on the Zoyar al Pasuk v'nefesh kisechta, a soul that will sin, and then these are particular types of atonements and sacrifices and so on. So the Zoyar right away says Tivoha. Do not read it nefesh kisechta as a statement. Read it with a question mark, as a wonder. The Eich actually is the Nefesh Adam. How is it possible that a soul of a person, that that's a part of Hashem above, you will do something that's the opposite of the supernal will of the will of above. How does that happen? That's through the concealment and covering that the body and the animal soul does to the neshama. They were given temporary power. They should be able to conceal the godly soul. And this temporary power was given for a particular reason. The reason for this is so that the avoida that the person does should be able to be in its most perfect way. Should be able to arise and ascend in the most truest form of ascending and elevation, which would not be possible if it would not be challenged by the body and the animal soul. So he goes on and says, after the brackets, during the splitting of the sea, it's shown by the Jewish people the revelation of their soul. Therefore, they were able to say, this is my God, and I will glorify him. They saw explicitly and openly the godly, the life force that was giving them energy. And that's why they were saying, Zekeli, it's my energy. Similar to what we had recently in Tanya about Nafshi Visicha, that I desire you, Hashem, because you are my soul. So the Yidden recognized how godliness is their life. That's what means Zekeli, it's my God, it's my life, it's my energy. From the fact that it's shown by the Jewish people openly. Their energy, their power, Zekeli, so this also affected and influenced the world. In the world, there was also the idea that fear and a trembling fear came down upon the inhabitants of the earth. And so that was, like we said, only temporary on a lower level. When Mashiach comes, there'll be even a higher revelation of this in the soul of a person. Moving for this understood. So that the awe that comes down the world will also be in a much higher way. According to this, we need to understand why will there also be the body, the physical body, when Mashiach comes? If the revelation of the soul will be in a much more elevated state, seemingly there's no place and room and purpose for the body. There's no benefit of the body whatsoever. Still no, we say that they will go into the cracks of the rocks, they will hide out in the caves. That hiding will be that the body will exist, and because of that, there's that fear that the body now attains. Alongside with this fear, alongside with this body, it will shine into the personal revelation of the light of the soul. And because of that, because the revelation of the light of the soul will shine, therefore also into the world will come down the fear from the trembling fear of Hashem and the glory of His majesty because of this great revelation that will take place in the world. And that's the question: why is it necessary to have the body there as well?